Hey everyone, welcome to the Catholicpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Fisher. Tell me what you think about this episode and about this show in general. If you're listening on whatever platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, give it a like, subscribe, and do me a favor and rate it on that star scale rating. I don't ask that as often as I should. I know that's an important way that the platforms kind of categorize what podcasts to recommend to people. So if you want more Catholics to hear about or know about this podcast, Catholic Entrepreneurs, would love if you could give it a rating. You can be honest. You don't have to give it 5 stars if you don't think it deserves it. But if you think it deserves it, please do give me a rating, share it with your friends. I would love to hear from you on that end. Today, we're going to welcome in Clarissa Snow. She's a licensed massage therapist in Omaha. She opened up Mary Undoer of Knots Massage. So I'm going to let her on in and tell us about herself. Hey, Clarissa, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Good to have you on. I appreciate you taking the time. Why don't you just go ahead and start by introducing yourself and what you do?
Yeah. So I'm Clarissa. I just finished massage school about a month ago, and I am kind of starting my own practice called Undoer of Knots Massage. I kind of had this pull and really wanted to have the freedom to serve people who, especially Catholics, in a place where they can trust that the service that they're receiving is going to align with their Catholic faith and beliefs. So it's been a work in progress. I don't know much about business, so I'm learning as I go, which has been really fruitful and difficult at times, but it's also really fun, very exciting. And yeah, it's just been an adventure to one step at a time to get through this.
Yeah. Good. What made you decide to do this? What made you decide to do this? And then when did you decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do? How did you start getting the schooling and all that?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I remember how as a kid, my parents or my aunts and uncles would ask me to walk on their back, and it was just fun. And then when I was in high school, I got my first concussion, and I had been seeing a chiropractor for probably a year at this point, and he had a therapist that just moved into his space, and so my mom booked me a session with her, and I really saw a lot of benefit, especially with the whiplash that I had sustained. And so after that, 2 years later, I was in a car accident and had my second concussion. And again, just knew at that point where to go, and so I booked another session and really started to understand the importance of that physical healing that was needed. And so throughout college, I remember my freshman year of college, first week, and I went online and I found the school, and I was like, when I'm done with my undergrad, I'm going to go do this, because it was something that I enjoyed to do. And I as I was, helping people, and my friends would ask for shoulder massages and stuff, and at the time I didn't know the anatomy, but you know enough, and after after I graduated, I took a year, because 5 years of undergrad, you need a little time. And then I started school last September, and they have anatomy classes. We have theory classes that teach us a routine, just to get us kind of comfortable with having a routine. And then after theory 1 and 2, we move into a time clinic, and then we start to have the freedom to kind of learn our own routine and see like how creativity kind of flows into that, and how do we take a client and kind of cater to their needs. And so that's normally like the path, after theory people start clinic. But the way that my life panned out, I was going through a lot in my personal life, and so I actually had to wait 6 months between theory and when I started clinic. And it was kind of hard because like, I wanted to get done on time, and I wanted to do like start on time, and that was my time. That wasn't the Lord's time. And so I like was like, all right, Lord, like I give it to you. And like he has just been like a guiding force through all of this. The amount of things that went on, he just gave me so much strength to kind of move through it. And I started clinic in June, and clinic requires us to have a total of 180 hands-on hours, and I completed that 180 hours in November, so roughly like 5 months. Typically, students have from the end of December through August, or like an 8-month time frame to kind of complete those hours, but I finished classes in August, so I had a few months where I just did class and maybe like 3 hours of clinic just to ease in. But once class was over, I had a whole day where I could formulate my schedule. I could go and just get clinic hours. And so by like fall, I was doing like 14 hours a week, 14 to 17 hours a week, so that I could get done. But there was a freedom there because whenever I would get, the timing that when I get done, I'm done. And so I was able to like just schedule when I was available, and I was able to make that my own and kind of get a taste of what my life will look like when I'm no longer in school and like no longer under instruction, because that's what the schedule is like. Like we just you have all day and you book when you're available. And so it was a lot longer than I anticipated in that, graduating in November, but I also couldn't really have planned it any other way for it to be it's his timing. Like I'm not in control with it. And he like has a purpose for me starting when I'm starting. So it's been really amazing.
That's so good to hear. Tell me, like, what's the quick rundown on like this area of therapy, and like I feel like it's kind of emerging, like especially from a Catholic perspective. Like, why is it important? Why is it something to consider?
Yeah. So first, I just want to touch on the fact that like I know there are stigmas around massage therapy, and I saw it in school. Like some of our classes required us, to learn about certain things. Like it's a little bit more in the new age because it's a secular school, and a lot of Catholics, myself included, don't agree with it and don't want to expose ourselves to something like that. And I had to request permission a few times to not participate in those things, and I was granted permission, but like being in that environment, it's hard. And so that was the other reason why, like, for me, I was like, I'm making mine like Catholic because I know the struggle of like finding a therapist that is going to like respect that. And what's beautiful and what I've come to kind of realize over the time in school and prayer is that like we look in the scriptures and Jesus healed with touch, like, with the blind man or with the paralytic or with any of these people. Like there's so many moments where he would reach down, take their hand and lift them up. And I think in that too, there's a beauty of like, not only did he heal them in that instance from a physical ailment, but he also like touched their emotional needs and their spiritual needs. And we forget just how interwoven our like self is. Our whole like being is encompassed by a physical body, and within that physical body we have a brain with emotions, and we have a soul, and everything is so connected. There's no way to be like, well, this is entirely separate from my life, like my mental health is outside of my body. No, it's not. Your mental health is inside of your body, which means that your body is taking all of that, as well as the world and everything outside of it too. And so you have to remember, like, I have to take care of my body both inside and out. And if my body is holding something, say stress, because we're a very stressed out world and society, like that's going to show up physically. And like we joke about it, we're like, oh, you know, like I'm so stressed out and I have shoulder pain and neck pain, and it's like, well, you don't have to. And you can like you can come and you can like receive, and it's hard to receive at times, to be like, actually, like I need help, and this is actually like making my life harder. And so a lot of times I find that, you know, when I meet with a client, when I'm working on them, like sometimes I have clients who say nothing, and that's totally fine. Like you need quiet time, perfect. And I have clients that are very chatty, and I love that too because I get to know them, and there's an element of trust that is exchanged where we have an understanding. Clinically and professionally, I follow guidelines of confidentiality, and it's like a beautiful thing to let them open up and let them share things that, you know, sometimes like they don't even tell, you know, their friends. And, you know, it's not just a muscle therapy. Sometimes it's real therapy too. And we have to we like be there for them, and we get to be there for them, and it's a beautiful gift to say like, I get to receive you in whatever place you're at, like right now. And there's no there's no time quite like receiving people in the present, and then showing them like in 1 hour, in 90 minutes, like whether or not you entirely grasp just how much healing has taken place, it has taken place.
That's such a beautiful ministry, a beautiful way to put it. Tell me a little bit about what it's been like transitioning from wrapping up your school, your hours, and now like the business side of it. What's been some of the challenge? What are the processes you've taken to like get this going?
So I finished on November 8th, and it was just like a huge relief to be like, I'm actually done. Now I have like this freedom. And then a week later, I took the license exam. And so I took like that week, and legally we're unable, like as students and unlicensed professionals, we're not allowed to serve the community. We're not allowed to take clients. It's very bad. So I had to wait until I took the exam, and then once I took the exam, I didn't have an office space, which physically yet, and I had like right at the end of October, I was in contact with someone that my chiropractor in his office, like he gave me his contact info. And I have been seeing my chiropractor for 2 years. He's also Catholic. He's really great. and he was encouraging me. He was like, you need to come into this office. Like, I feel like this is a really good place for you because, like, it's a Catholic environment, and it's, if nothing else, it's very Christian. We can work together. Like, there are a lot of places you can just make connections. And so I was like, okay, like, gonna pray on it, but probably that's, where I'm leaning towards. And on Halloween, I called the guy who's kind of runs the building, and I was like, hey, like, I just want to make sure that we're kind of, where we're at, how are we figuring this out, and kind of made a plan and confirmed very loosely that I would move in like very beginning of December. And so I had like a month, and I was like, well, I don't want to wait to, in the next 2 weeks to not serve anyone. So I set up my table in my basement, and I took a few people in my house, and then um, like finally got like signed the lease, signed the paperwork, got my key right before Thanksgiving. And the week after, so the weekend after Thanksgiving, I came back from that, and Sunday I loaded up my car and I took all my stuff and I unloaded it, and the room was still full of some things they had been keeping in storage. So I had to like move everything out into the hallway, and then I moved all my stuff in. And it's like, it was pretty chaotic. And then I came in the next morning and kind of got it at least organized to where I could function it. Like, I set up my table and I made it so that I could actually serve people. And I mean, that was 2 weeks ago. And then, I had things going on, but I was able to at least see people. And I've just slowly been like, I got my business cards printed out, and now I'm in the process of like printing out like little signs and my rates and my like having all of that ready to go. Still in the like all of these little things, the paperwork stuff that no one wants to think about. But then I, had to get other things like my Square set up, which, that's really important to have a way for people to pay me. And I have a few different modes that I accept payment. And so, like, having that set up so that I can at least put people's information in. It's like, the funny thing is like, I only took about 8 weeks of schooling for business. And in the school, like, they have a business, but like none of this was what, like, we didn't really cover. We covered what we would need, but we didn't cover the little things of like how to actually do it. And so most of this I'm just learning as I go, and like having to, create my budget plan and figure out how much I'm going to be making each month, because that's not a set wage, right? Like, it's dependent on when I take clients in, and each month will look different because I'm going to get a different number of clients each week and month. And so that aspect is different than any job that someone else might have, where you have a set hourly rate and you go in and you work and you go home. Like, I can set my own hours, which is really convenient, but it's also like, if I don't work a day, I don't get paid. And so there's that, like, how do I make this, functional and also affordable? So the cheapest amount of things that I can do, and like, what can I thrift, or what can I, like, honestly, like, asking the generosity of friends and family and being like, I have this list of stuff that I need, and like, help, and it's really humbling to be like, I need help to get this started. But the beautiful thing too is I've had so much support over the last year and even within the last few months of people who have, purchased sheets for me, purchased like the fun little like decorative salt lamps and like different little pieces that now it's fun because I can look at it and I can go, I know exactly who got that for me, and I can like in a way intercede for them and be like gratitude and thanksgiving, and be able to share in that space too, that just like this isn't a part, like this isn't just me like building this, like this is my community around me who has supported me, and this is the Lord who has been so gracious to me to continue to provide, because I would not be able to do this on my own.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's beautiful. I like the way how you walked us through the whole process of like all those little details of starting a business. Like you really are just doing it and you're figuring it out as you go. And it's beautiful to
Yeah.
hear that. So congratulations, you did it. You got a space and you're running with it. And I'm excited to see where this goes. Where can the listeners, the viewers, find you? Website, social media, all that good stuff. Like I'll link it as well. But where can they find you?
Yeah. So I right now I have a Facebook page called Undoer of Knots Massage. I have an Instagram page also under the same name, Undoer of Knots Massage. And for contact information, typically for people outside of like my realm, or from like a direct contact, I ask just for like, I have an email called undoerknots@gmail.com. So you can send me an email. It's like I directly to me, and I can receive those pretty easily, and I can respond. And from there, we can find an easier way of contact. But for the sake of like safety in public, like releasing, like I don't have a business phone yet, and so that's just an easy way for me to be like, here's a direct line to start, and after
Right.
that like we can figure out the easiest way to contact. I'm still in
Definitely.
the process of building a website, so that's probably not going to happen until next year, but it's in the works, and it's one step at a time. I am in the Lord's timing, and I'm not like in a desire to like rush anything, because rushing means that you aren't paying attention to everything, and I want to make sure that everything is covered. So that's, yeah.
Awesome. And where are you
I
located?
Okay, so I'm located in Omaha, and my office space is within the same building as Heartland Family Medicine, but I don't have like I don't take walk-ins. So like the easiest way really is to just contact me and then set up an appointment, and I can send more information as like to where exactly you can find me. But within Omaha is my biggest reach right now. And I also offer a service where if those that can't quite like make it out of their homes, whether or not they're busy mothers with kids or more elderly, or just unable to leave, I am able to come to them, and I have a rate where I will drive to you. I will set up my table in your home, and we can have an appointment within your home. So that allows that accessibility further than just people who can get in their car and drive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Definitely. Well, Clarissa, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been such a pleasure to hear about your journey, your ministry. Thanks for what you do. Your ministry is beautiful. Just good luck as you kind of get things
Thank you,
started.
and thanks for this opportunity. It was so great.
Of course. Of course. It's good to touch base. We'll
Okay.
chat soon. God
Yes,
bless.
bye.
Bye.